This is James's breakfast, July 1st. The zucchini blossoms, which I stuffed and battered and fried up, are along there. And then there's some orange tomatoes and egg, sauerkraut, and a lentil dish. Pineapple for dessert, water, and the croissant if he wants it. It's up to him what he eats. Now, I'm not totally thrilled about this meal because, as you can tell, it's pretty much brown and orange. Has some lovely autumn tones. Not a whole lot of green. So I like the meals to have a lot of greenery. And I suppose one might be able to convince themselves, well, there's sort of greenery underneath the batter. And fried up coconut oil. Anyway, I wanted to try to be a little more fair about these books. Now, this isn't the most perfect book. I have been showcasing what I feel are the best recipes in this book. So she does give some ridiculous recipes that are like 3 ingredients or whatever. Like, there's one that's, you can go ahead and sit down, James. Then you can guard it, the food from those flies that sit there looking persistent at the food, and they're pretty excited about it. So you go ahead and eat. Yeah. Like, she gives a garlic paste recipe that is like garlic and ginger or something, and that's it. And there, ginger garlic paste, and that's what it is. That's all it is. So, do you really need a recipe for this? Grind to a paste in a food processor. Seriously, she used up a whole page for that. Whole page. I'm not kidding. So what I'm saying is this book is not the perfect book. I've been showing you me making the best recipes, I think, from her book. But there are ridiculous recipes in here, like how to make omelets and stuff. No, maybe not omelets, but there are a lot of egg dishes in here. Jalapeno and dill scrambled. You can guess what that is. It's an egg dish, and it's scrambled eggs with jalapeno and dill. Do you need a recipe for that? No. No, you really don't.
James would, but that's
and yeah, here's an omelet, so I wasn't making it up. So there's a lot of really ridiculous recipes in here. Peppery papadum. This is the most ridiculous one. Because she doesn't tell you how to make the papadums, like what goes into them, because she's not doing that. She doesn't make them. She buys them just like I do when I make them for James.
So
these are some of my favorite things.
You dip them in oil.
That's all you do. You deep fry them. So you buy them in a package. You open up the package, and then you put them in the deep fryer. That's all you do. So do you really need this? Is 2 pages, because we have a lovely photograph here of them all cooked up nicely, and they look nice in the basket.
And just in case
I can put them in a basket for James like this.
3-stage process.
You get 3 pictures of that. That's very good.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Even I figured out what was
So
happening.
what I'm saying is, I wasn't being totally fair when I was showing that this is such a great book, and these books are garbage. Yesterday, when I was doing the supper, I would like to just say that, this is not the most perfect book that I've ever read. But I am very, very glad to have gotten it out of the library and have had the opportunity to make many of the recipes from it, because we have enjoyed many of the recipes. I don't need to use the recipe for how to make papadums, because I am not an idiot. I have managed to figure out how to do that for myself. It's very simple. I don't think anybody needs a recipe for that, but she felt that maybe people did, so she included that. I don't know why. I don't think anybody needs a recipe for that. Anyway, and these books, if if you were to eat like this, you probably would be healthier than however you're eating now. So I'm not saying that this guy's strategy is totally awful or anything like that. And you might like some of the recipes, but they're not very inspired, and they're not very inspiring. Like, I've decided that I will try to be fair, and I'm going to try one of his cheesecake recipes. And I imagine that's going to be hard for us to eat, because it probably will be disgusting. But I don't know. And it won't be that hard for me to do. I may as well try it. I may as well make small ones rather than the whole big recipe, because I don't think we'll like it. But, you know, I don't think I was being fair about that last night. It won't be hard for me to try this, and before I totally say, oh, don't eat some yogurt cheesecake recipe that he came up with, I should try it. And then afterwards, when I have the proof on my plate, on my fork, and then I will make a determination of whether it's worth doing or not, because he's put a lot of time into his non-fat yogurt cheese, how to make. He's put the recipe here, and this has taken 2 pages, because all of his recipes take 2 pages. Fresh berry topping. Somehow he needs a whole other page for, I don't know why. He really wanted to make a thick book, I think.
So you just chuck honey and yogurt on. Okay.
So these recipes are basically something that somebody who's maybe not so accustomed to being in the kitchen that much, they'd be able to make these recipes. So there's something to be said for that, I suppose. But for me, looking through this, I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, nothing. But, Anyway, so maybe the tuna salad recipe seems okay. I'm sure James would like this. I would rather, he uses a lot of tuna, which I don't think that's a good idea. I think there's so much mercury in tuna.
I will eat it.
No, this guy.
Oh, he does. Okay.
He uses a lot. Okay. You don't. You eat salmon.
Salmon. Mm-hmm.
Which is good.
I don't like tuna for some reason.
Yeah.
No.
Get wild Pacific salmon, and you're better off than the tuna. No, that's fine. I'm not criticizing you. I know you eat it. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, for the tuna salad, this guy uses a lot of tuna. He's a pretty big fan of tuna. And maybe just swap it for salmon. How hard is that? It's prettier. And he puts orange juice in his tuna salad, which might be good. And some applesauce. Maybe. Anyway, I'm going to make the super carrot raisin salad, which is pretty much like every other raisin salad I've seen, but he's using the plain non-fat yogurt, and it looks pretty reliable. I think it'll be alright. But yeah, with the non-fat yogurt cheese, he not only devotes these 2 pages to it, like he does 2 pages for every recipe, but he gives a good diagram here, because he really likes putting a lot of work into diagrams for some reason, and I can't find it right off. But it's kind of cute. Like like the how to use the salad spinner diagram, or this one, the yogurt cheese. He puts it through a coffee maker funnel. So you put the coffee filter in, you put that over a container, you stick this whole thing in the fridge once you've filled up the filter. To filter use coffee filters or cheesecloth. But anyway, so he doubles up the coffee filters, if I remember correctly, and sticks the yogurt in there. And then he puts this whole deal in the fridge for 24 hours. And then takes it out, and I suppose you can make a smoothie with the water that comes out or whatever, but the yogurt he uses, the stuff that you've extracted the fluid from using the filter gravity process, and that's what he uses for his cheesecakes. So I don't know. I do like that he appreciates eating nutrient-dense foods. So that's good. I mean, that's similar to how we like to eat. We like to eat nutrient-dense stuff. He likes to eat a lot of tuna. But anyway, there's some things like the total nutrient richness chart for page 4849 here of weight loss success without dieting. I mean, he's just looking at, and he does explain it, so I should read the explanation first. Okay. Please note that this chart is by no means comprehensive. It doesn't show you all of the nutrients you need. For example, many common nutrients, including minerals like copper, vitamins like choline, have no daily value established for them. Other very important nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids also have no daily value. Phytonutrients, plant-derived nutrients, including flavonoids like quercetin and anthocyanins and catechins, are also known to be essential to health, but these nutrients have yet to be assigned a daily values. And thousands of nutrients have yet to be isolated and identified, yet we know they must exist because our list of currently known nutrients does not allow us to fully explain all the health benefits we get from whole foods. Since phytonutrients are plant-based nutrients, vegetables are likely to be among the best sources of these yet to be identified nutrients. So he does say that. And I do have a little bit of concern about this. See, he has this omega-3 2.5 grams, omega-6 12 grams you need during the day, and that seems backwards, frankly. So I don't entirely trust. He doesn't provide a lot of information in these books, and I don't entirely trust it. So everything that I read, I'm going, okay, well, I'm going to have to look this up in multiple sources that I trust, to verify his information that he's giving, which is fine, because everyone should do that. You know, they shouldn't trust what they read necessarily. But then the total nutrient richness chart, I mean, he has spinach, asparagus, Swiss chard, collard greens, cremini mushrooms, which he also eats a whole ton of, and he eats them raw. Broccoli, or like, well, spinach is way higher, you can see, than the broccoli and the kale. Anyway, so those ones are the top ones. And then he has things like rosemary, cilantro, and ginger are right at the bottom. Anyway, so...
Was that for serving size?
Because
these things would be just full of stuff for...
Yeah, but remember he did say, please note the phytonutrients. That doesn't include the phytonutrients, right? And so, and he might be looking at it, yeah, per serving size. So he might be thinking, well, you're only going to eat maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of rosemary or something, and that's not going to melt. And a lot of people think that way, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't. That's a very bad chart.
I mean, if you were to go through this recipe book and eat these recipes that he suggests, or here, he even gives you a whole diet plan for, which it doesn't seem totally unhealthy. It seems great, actually. It's just not as good as what we typically do. It's better than what I'm doing for him here, but this is a Canada Day celebration breakfast.
You got to celebrate before the rain moves in and spoils everything for everyone out
And
there.
how often do I deep fry anything for you?
It's good deep fry, I'm telling you. This is, you know how we were running across that guy was saying crispy?
You like that
Cells?
better?
It's awesome crispy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever eaten anything more crispy.
I know.
It's
well,
just
that's
like
because
full
the
of
batter
air.
I use. Yeah.
It's amazing.
You
Did
know
you
that-
invent that batter, or did you run across it somewhere?
No, everybody knows.
Is
how
that
to
true?
make- Okay, I don't know because I didn't know that everyone
I've never
didn't
seen
know
it
how to
before at
make.
a restaurant or anywhere else. It's awesome.
Yeah, to make a batter like that, all you have to do is use club soda.
It's amazing.
I know. And you just do it. You put it in right before you put it in the deep fryer. You make sure your deep fryer is really hot, ready to go, and then you make sure your whatever you're deep frying is already has the flour on it. It's ready to go, and then you stir in your club soda into your batter, your dip, and you don't measure because I don't. You
don't
just
have to.
you don't have to. You just stir it
It's
in
just
until you
perfect,
go,
yeah.
okay, well, is that about the right texture? And then you just put your things in and you do them. Yeah, and then you put them in. Oh, it's very easy.
It's amazing. I don't know why they don't do it at restaurants.
I don't know because
You know what I'm saying?
then they'd have to do it right.
All the time?
Well,
the timing's
Yeah,
the problem.
the timing. You gotta, and you're hiring people who.
Well,
for
you're
little
paying
wage,
them as low
yeah.
as you can pay them. In the
And-
United States, who knows what that is?
So, anyway, everything in a you think you go to a restaurant and you think, oh well, this is made fresh for me.
Gordon Ramsay
Oh.
has informed us to the contrary.
Anyway, so no, that's why you don't get batter like that in a restaurant because it would have to. If you went to a fancy restaurant, I'm sure you would. They might make fresh food for you.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
But yeah, you got to add the club soda right before, and then you get that. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, the meal plans in this book I have no problem with them really. I think they're pretty healthy. He uses a lot of things like broccoli and kale and stuff like that we use a lot of. He uses cilantro, which is great. I think he's done a better job coming up with I think he's in the process of learning, which I respect. I am too. There's a lot to learn about nutrition, and with this one, he wasn't using a lot of there's very little spices and herbs that he was using in here, honestly, in this book. And this one he's using a lot more, so I think he has learned that cilantro actually is pretty decent. So he's putting her in there, which is great.
It actually looks as though he might be.
And he's lost some weight there.
This is
even
the same
though he's-
dude, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like,
Didn't recognize him.
no.
He's looking like Leslie Nielsen in this left
I
hand.
know, he has lost some weight, so it's
more
working
recent?
for him. Yeah,
There
this
you
one's
go.
more recent,
Yeah.
so it is working
Yeah.
for him a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's
But
awesome.
the thing is, I mean, I think it's a good idea to cook without fat. For the most part, when I'm cooking, unless it's something like this, it's without fat. I rarely need to cook with fat. And then I can just leave a bottle on the table of extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, for James to just put on his food if he wants it. And I think that's the way to do it, you know? But you gotta watch out if you're cooking without fat that you're not adding sugar kind of things instead to make up the difference, right? Because you're going to need something to satiate, and you're going to be craving something. So what is it going to be? Is it going to be starches, or, you know, you just got to think, okay, well, you have to look at your how you're doing on a day-to-day basis and say, and evaluate it and say, okay, well, how much bread did I eat today? Or how much sugar did I really go after the chocolate? And sure, you know, I might have got dark chocolate, and I've convinced myself, oh yes, well, I'm doing something healthy, but did I eat 10 of those bars? Because, so you just have to be honest with yourself, right? And eventually you come to the realization that you should be eating loads of fresh herbs. So if you are a gardener, it's easy to provide that for yourself.
While the garden's going.
Yeah, like we have so much mint. We've been eating quite a bit of the mint, and it's great to put in the kombucha. And today James had some lovely squash blossoms and chives, which, how many times in your life have you eaten squash blossoms?
Once now.
Once now.
I didn't even know they're in that, eh?
That's what's stuffed.
And it was stuffed with chives inside?
No, the chives are tying it shut.
We're tying it together. See, I didn't even taste the chives. And I'm not a big fan of chives.
I know.
So, you know, like the texture, well, the taste was kind of neutral, right? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't...
So I could have spiced up your batter a bit better.
No, what I'm saying is it's a fun thing because of the texture.
Okay.
So you don't want to mess with it, right? If you can get veggies in you with it being a neutral experience for the taste, then you're ahead of the game, is the way I look at it. And then you've made it fun with the texture. So, yeah, you don't want to mess with it. You can put some spices in, but...
I don't know. I think, hopefully, I am hoping that for his next book, I am seeing him use more shiitake mushrooms. Instead of the cremini. But I mean, he's.
Well, maybe he doesn't like the taste. You don't like.
I don't like the taste either.
You know, I think with you it might. You know, like I gotta admit, if you eat a lot of mushrooms, the slimier ones or rubbery ones,
yeah, they're
kind of wear on you.
Yeah.
And maybe
it's some strong flavor. Shiitake is very flavorful.
Yeah, I don't notice the.
But there is a recipe in this book for mushroom soup, which I'm going to try one of these days. I'm not trying it today because today I'm just taking it a little bit easier. I had a very productive morning, and I'm making some more of those, the black-eyed pea recipe that she has in here, which is excellent. But yeah, I will be trying this Mama Mimi's. Anyway, and it has shiitake mushrooms in it, so that should be good. But I have to go buy some allspice. I've run out of allspice. So yeah, and then we'll just drizzle some sesame oil on top of each serving rather than, because I don't cook with the oil. So I won't be doing it like she did it, but I'll have the same flavors going on. You know, I have to admit, with Indian cooking, a lot of recipes they'll say to fry the spice up first. You know, just in a dry pan, fried up, and it does make it more flavorful, and it makes the house smell amazing when you do it. And I don't do that. I haven't been taking the time to do that. I just put it all in the slow cooker, and it still ends up tasting pretty good. But I wouldn't recommend you get these books from the library. These two, still. He does have some useful information on his websites about plants, and he is genuinely trying to learn, and he's trying to share the information, which I do like. I just don't think he's put enough time into those books to warrant reading them.
Maybe one more comprehensive instead of the two-way.
Yeah, and if you were to cook as he wants you to here, you wouldn't be eating nearly the variety of foods, nearly as healthy as if you were just trying just a handful of recipes out of this book, honestly. This one, he does include a little bit more herbs and stuff. So, and he does say, this is the essential guide for the healthiest way of eating. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe that's because it says author of the world's healthiest foods, essential guide for the healthiest way of eating. So that's probably part of the title. So this is not an essential guide to the healthiest, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if he was trying to say that or not, but it's not. But still, if you ate like that, you would probably be very healthy. You could just do better. That's all I'm saying. And I like a book that inspires me to keep learning, and these did not do that at all. I like books that inspire me to cook healthy food. These did not do that for me. This one did. That's all. So, I hope I've clarified that a bit. And James likes the squash blossom, so it was a big success.
That's amazing. We'll have lots of squash blossoms.
Well, if you want me to make that for you more often,
might as
but
well.
that's deep fried food.
Might as well use the blossoms or whatever.
Okay.